something and maybe I'll come back. But I had already seen them, so it wasn't going to be like missing something I'd never seen before. So that was the only one that I did not see. The only great thing about that was I happened to go outside, and the band I was sponsoring for the festival happened to be standing outside of the venue, and we ended up having an impromptu dinner together. So I can't really complain. So
and that band was?
That was Pyramaze.
Okay.
Which is
now,
awesome.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Lance King, our friend from episode 1, didn't he join them on stage?
He did. He sang 3 songs with them.
Oh, you got to tell us about that.
Yeah, that was a historic set. That was pretty amazing. I mean, everybody used words like epic, awesome, magical, that kind of stuff after this set, because Pyramaze had not played ProgPower since 2006, so 10 years ago. And they finally were invited back, kind of on the heels of the success of Disciples of the Sun. And since their last time, Lance was their singer at that time when they played in 2006. Then, of course, Matt Barlow was the singer on the 3rd album after that. And then now their latest album, Terrier, is now their singer. So what they did is they have the current lineup. And they did, I guess, about 6 songs from Disciples of the Sun with Terrier leading. Then they brought in Matt Barlow, who sang 3 songs off of Immortal, which was historical by itself because Matt had never sung live with Pyramaze ever. He just did the studio album. And then Lance came out and sang 3 songs from his 2 albums, Melancholy Beast and Legend of the Bone Carver. And then the last song they sang was Disciples of the Sun, the title track from their newest album. And all 3 singers came out and sang it together.
How cool.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing. It's never going to happen again. It was a really special set, and they also recorded it for DVD.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. And Pyramaze is a great band, and I was actually going to talk to you about, obviously you got to hang out with them a lot more behind the scenes, and like we talked about earlier in our show, it just we're metalheads. We love the music just on itself. We could never meet these guys or know any of these guys and still love it. But what really gives you an entirely different appreciation for the music you love is when you get to meet the artists themselves and really, you know, almost become on a first name basis with some of these guys. It just makes it an entirely different experience. And I'm sure that's what you got from, hanging out with them and, you know, interviewing them and stuff like that. I mean, it probably has to put an entirely different spin on your fandom, if you will.
Yeah. It's got a really nice personal touch, and it is nice to get to meet the guys and, you know them on various levels. It's really great.
There was also probably a lot more of Lady Obscure stuff you were doing behind the scenes, so I don't want to let too much let the cat out of the bag here, but what could some of the listeners who are frequenters of the website and read some of your stuff, what can they be expecting in the next couple weeks, month-ish from some of the stuff that you uncovered or discussed at ProgPower with the various bands that you met with?
Yeah, most of what I did, I was there more as a fan than being on the job, so to speak. So that was really great. The only thing I really did actually for Lady Obscure on the job was interviewing Tom and Henrik from Evergrey. So that was about a half-hour interview that I did. I'm actually working on editing it this week, and I hope to get that up pretty soon. One of my fellow Lady Obscure writers and editor-in-chief, actually, Matt, interviewed Vanishing Point and Sirius Black while he was there for Lady Obscure, so those are going to be up pretty soon as well.
Oh, cool. Two of my favorite bands. I love those bands.
Yeah. So you can look forward to that on the Lady Obscure end from the representation of Lady Obscure at ProgPower this year.
That's awesome. Well, and we actually reviewed them earlier in the broadcast, but of course Devin Townsend was there over the weekend, and that was a set that I don't know you incredibly well music-wise, but that's one of the things that I'm like, I wonder what Lacy thinks about that, because of course Devin is all over the place as far as, what he does. I mean, you have Strapping Young Lad and you have Ziltoid. I mean, those are totally the heavier side of Devin. But I mean, Devin does bluegrass, for God's sake. I mean, the guy is just he is the definition of metal eclectic, especially as a musician. So tell us a little bit more about the Transcendence, the album that just came out, but tell us what you thought about his project essentially live. What did you think of it?
It came over really well, and it was nice because he had another kind of ProgPower exclusive, which ProgPower is kind of known for. They do a lot of really neato exclusive things that you're not going to get anywhere else on a regular basis by any means. But Anneke van Giersbergen sang several songs with him from some of the things they've done together in the past, so that was a really nice touch. I kind of tease about how she brings a little class to Devin's act, but
Nice.
Yeah, and I can't say I'm terribly familiar with all of Devin's discography. I have checked some out. I'm not like an expert or anything like that. But he's quite the comedian, I will say that.
He's goofy. He's
kind of nutty in a good way. But, he's pretty genius, I think. He's very intelligent, you can tell. He can play really well. And apparently he was playing on a really sore ankle, but you'd never know it. One of the really funny things from the set, and I don't know if this is like a normal thing or not, but at one point they rolled in the other guitarist and the bassist in on hand trucks, playing the song.
That's cool.
They're rolling them in on stage.
I don't think that's normal, but maybe it is. That's pretty
awesome. I
awesome.
don't know. It might be normal for his act, or if that was just something they came up with just to be silly at the last minute or what. But it was a great show. He had everybody in stitches, and he was the headliner, the very last of the whole festival, which usually is the really biggest act of all. That kind of is the big blowout to end everything, And he really delivered on that.
What were some, obviously Pyramase, I'm sure, is one of them, but what were some standout performances that you're like, dude, I'm glad I was here for that?
Stream of Passion was really good. Unfortunately, they're not going to be together after this year. They're calling it quits, and they're just really.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're fulfilling all the dates they already had scheduled, ahead of time. So they are honoring those dates, but they are basically breaking up. The band is going to cease to exist after this year. So it was their very first and last performance in the U.S., and they really knocked everybody's socks off. Marcel is a fantastic singer. They have a lot of great energy. They really impressed me. I was kind of looking forward to seeing them anyway because I like their style of music, but they really, really had a great show. So that kind of knocked me over pretty well. Of course, Pyramase, that was kind of a no-brainer. That was really, really cool. It blew everybody away. Circus Maximus was, again, great for me. And I think, a lot of good reaction from everyone. Blind Guardian, I'm not as big a fangirl as some people are, but they put on a fantastic show. Like I said, Ascendia was great. Another one that I really enjoyed was Vanishing Point from Australia.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they've been dying to just get to the U.S., period, in their 20 years of existence. And you could tell they were like more than thrilled to be there, the whole time they were playing, and they put on a really good show. That was impressive. The Gentle Storm set was really nice. They did a great job. I was kind of expecting that to be good, but everybody was just on their feet for that one. And I really enjoyed that as well. Now I know Fate's Warning had a lot of great reaction. Personally, it's not my favorite. It was a John Arch era performance with John Arch singing. They did the whole Awaken the Guardian album with John singing, which hasn't happened in 30 years?
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing about John especially is you talk about a guy with just an incredibly unique sound that can be very off-putting. There's a lot of people who are like, I hate this guy. And then there's me who actually, I like John Arch a lot. And I love his sound, but it's incredibly unique. So that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, that got a big response. It wasn't a personal favorite of mine, but, I will have to highlight it, as far as the whole festival goes. Oh, another one that really impressed me was Sirius Black. Man, that impressed me. I think it kind of took everyone by surprise. I think we all figured it would be good, getting all these guys together from, 5 different countries or whatever. And Urban Breed attends ProgPower every year anyway.
Does he really?
He does every year with his wife. They're there every year.
That's
as
awesome.
fans.
I love Urban. He's a great guy. Well,
yeah,
I don't know if he's a great guy, but I love him vocally. So it's funny that he's there as a fan regardless. That's cool.
No, he comes. In fact, I've run into him before, and he just hangs out with everybody else just like a fan, like he's just one of us.
That's awesome.
Seriously. Yeah, they come every year. And but he's like, hey, you finally get to see me sing. Oh my gosh, it was a great set.
Awesome.
Wow, that was a great set. Mm-hmm. And Green Carnation, I listened to the album that they played. It was Light of Day, Day of Darkness, which is a 1-song album. The one track is an hour long, so there's no breaks. And they played that whole set. It's a very somber kind of album. I didn't really, explore it to the utmost depths as I could have, but being a very somber album, they had some, moody kind of lighting, and it was just, they pulled it all off, and it just was kind of one of those otherworldly kind of sets, that I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. But yeah, that was really good.
It's funny you say that because of all the bands that were there, that was the one band that I went, I don't know how that's going to translate. Mm-hmm. And I would have gone into it with the same thoughts you are, which is, well, let's wait and see, because I don't know if this is going to work, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it actually went really well, and it touched a lot of people, man. Yeah, it ended up translating quite well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lacy, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really, really appreciate it. And, of course, the great work that you do at Lady Obscure. Give those listening to the show ways to follow not only the site, but, where can they find out more about the reviews and all the great things you do, but then also you on social media. Tell the peeps where to find you.
Yeah, well, I'm on Facebook as Lacy Mucklow, and you can also find me on Twitter at Lacy_Mucklow.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lacy, so much for being on the show. We really, really appreciate it. For some reason, you keep coming back, and I still haven't figured out why you've decided to do that. As maybe it's pity. I'm not sure. But you always certainly classing up our podcast every single time that you're on it. We greatly appreciate it. And stay metal, my friend. Thanks for being here.
You too.
To check out the entire episode or previous episodes of the According to Metal podcast, simply click subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or the podcatcher of your choice. It's the According to Metal podcast. Latest news, reviews, interviews, and all things metal. Subscribe. You know you want to. That is, unless, I don't know, you like Coldplay or something.